So I am very excited about what I'm hearing through the whispers of the warp. If you would have told me, like, last year that we would get Space Marine 2 and a potential new 40k RTS game, which apparently is like, it's not going to be a mobile game or anything like that, which we'll get onto in a second. It's supposed to be a big RTS game. Then I would have called you a fool, I would have called you Mortarian, a coward, I would have called you Perturabo, a weakling. But now I'm like, oh boy, this seems to be actually happening. So what actually is this rumor? Now hopefully you're strapping yourself in for this, because it could be a big one if you let your mind open. So we are going to be getting another 40k RTS game. Now, this is coming from a source who I highly trust, who has been right before about many things in the past. I'm actually thinking now this source hasn't been wrong about anything. So this is why I'm, of course, making this video, and I'm actually really excited to get this news over to you. So from what I'm hearing is that they want to make this RTS a big RTS game. Now, apparently it's nothing to do with Creative Assembler. That's something I was told by this source. It's going to be coming from another studio. Who that studio is, I'm not too sure at this point. Of course, if I get more information, I'll do another video, I'll share it with you. We'll talk about it on live streams and stuff like that. I've been trying to think to myself, what studio could actually take on another RTS game, a 40k RTS game? Do you chaps know any big studios out there that have made good real-time strategy games in the past, which would do a fantastic job with the 40k franchise? Hopefully you can post that down in the comments and we can have a little talk about it down there. So it's definitely not Creative Assembler, but the news that excites me more and more is that what I'm hearing is that this potentially could be a sequel to the Dawn of War games. Now, before you start losing your mind, before you start going, oh my god, it's another Dawn of War game, from what I've been told and the way it was put across, it could potentially be a sequel to Dawn of War 4. We'll talk about that in a second. But it could be also like passing the crown over from the Dawn of War franchise to a new franchise, like a sequel in that type of sense. Now, if it was Dawn of War 4, and this is a big if, I'm saying if it was Dawn of War 4, could this be the redemption that we've all been waiting for? If you like Dawn of War 3, I'm holding nothing against you, but a lot of us, myself included of course, disliked that game for a number of reasons. It just wasn't a Dawn of War game for me. Yes, it had the Blood Ravens, Gable Andros in there, but the maps designs, it was just something completely different. I hated the single player campaign. It forced you to play the Orcs, the Eldar. I like to play like a full campaign of Space Marines, then I'll do a full campaign of Orcs, then a full campaign of the Eldar and stuff like that. I don't really want to make this into a rant video about Dawn of War 3, but that game basically let us down. It had some cool things in there, like I like the soundtrack, some of the animations and stuff. Visually, I liked how the way like the knights and the mechs and the effects looked, but yeah, it was just a bad game overall. So if we were to get a sequel to that game, I actually could, well, I'm actually looking at it potentially as like the rebirth of the Dawn of War franchise. And for me, if it does happen, I think that's a massive thing, because I thought Dawn of War 3 would technically be the nails in the coffin when it came to the Dawn of War franchise. I thought because that game was so bad, it failed on the sales market, it failed on the sales front, it basically just killed that RTS franchise off. So if that was to come back, I think a lot of people will be looking at it saying, okay, if this game is good, we are ready to jump back on and support probably one of the greatest 40k video game franchises there's ever been. For me, hearing this news, the most excited thing about it is potentially what they can now do with the storyline. There's so much that's happened now since we've had our last decent 40k RTS game. Like, I'm thinking the last one was like Retribution, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Everything else has kind of been a turn-based 40k game. But now that we have the whole Indomitus Crusade, we have Guilliman back, we have Mortarion, Magnus, potentially Angron on the horizon, you know, releasing with the tabletop game. You know, there's rumors about Loyalist Primarchs coming back with the line in 10th edition. All this, for me, is building up Primaris Marines, bloody Primaris Marines, and all the new vehicles, Eradicators, Repulsor tanks, all this new stuff now that we've got with the new edition could now be coming over to this RTS game, and we can get this epic campaign. How about I don't know, it was called Dawn, well, I'm not going to say Dawn of War again, we talked about Dawn of War. How do you know, it's Indomitus Crusade. You can play as like Chaos, Orcs, the Imperium. You can play as like any race in this bloody crusade, and like, you know, the Imperium, you're fighting from Terror, pushing your way out. And as Orcs, you know, you're trying to make your own empire. As Chaos, you've got the Great Rift to strike from. There's so many bloody potentially things you can go in and talk about here, which just absolutely gets me excited on what they can do on that front when it comes to units. Imagine controlling a Primarch in an RTS game. Controlling Guilliman with the Emperor's Sword, just going in there, sweeping left and right. Then Mortarion Scythe, left and right, going in there, killing everything. This is the things now which is getting me so bloody excited about the potential of this game. And not to fool you, I believe this is happening. And again, I always say this when it comes to rumor videos, just because I believe this is happening doesn't mean that you have to believe it's happening. But the source who I trust has stated this, and I trust the source. I trust the tomato ketchup source on this one. So for me, this is happening. It's a matter of when rather than if now. And when I say when, I actually don't know when. I don't know if this is going to be coming out this year, next year, the year after, anything like that. I don't know any details about this at all. Hopefully some announcements will be made this year. We still got Adepticon to go ahead, but I think that's mostly going to be models. Warhammer Fest is still to be announced this year. That's even if they're having Warhammer Fest out in like you know, a hall or anything. And I'm sure there's going to be other events this year as well, whenever they bloody come out. But hopefully we'll get some hard-tracked evidence this year, and we can all bloody lose ourselves in all the glory which we've been waiting for. Because at the end of the day, I know, and you know, we've been waiting for an awesome RTS game. Yes, we've had these turn-based games, which, you know, I'm holding nothing against turn-based games. If you like turn-based games, you like turn-based games. But I've always got my fun when it comes to tactical 40k games out of an RTS, because it's happening there and then, and you have to react to it. So I am extremely excited at the prospects of what this game can offer us, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. Alright, Chaperoonios, that is enough waffling from me as always. Thank you for coming, thank you for watching. If you've got any thoughts, feedback, game ideas, I don't know, game ideas. What would you like to see, like, in a new 40k RTS? Storylines, characters, races being played? Post it all down below. Let's get this hype train chewing from this station. See you in a bit, have a great day, love you all, and bye-bye.